Hey folks, Damien again. Last session of the day. Let's have a little look, see who we've got in the house. Rodney and Brett, welcome, champions. Welcome. Early arrivals, gold stars for both of you guys. Thanks for coming along to this question and answer section. Part of me says it'd be great if people are so engaged with the topic today that they've come along to participate in this question and answer session. Part of me says, people turn up. Have I screwed up and not taught anything? Everyone's lost. Has questions. I don't know which way it's going to be, but I am here to help you. And you can fire away with your first question whenever you like, fellas. I won't hold you up if you want to get into one now rather than wait. Or did you just come for the extra dad jokes? That's always a possibility. Coincidence that's two fellas who are here first? Maybe not. Yeah, that too. Good, well said, Brett. Just here to see if there are any other questions. I reckon there will be. I reckon there'll be quite a lot of questions, actually. I really do. Sometimes people don't really have their questions until they've had a crack. So that might be a function here too. My question is, how do I stop my hair from going crazy when I put this thing on? You're here to listen to, Rodney. So what you're saying, Rodney, is basically you and Brett are stalkers. Is that it? Is that what I'm reading? You just want to stalk other people's questions? Yep. Okay. Thanks for your honesty. Appreciate it. Simone Isatu, welcome. Good to have you here. Brett and Rodney are in the house already, ready to go. If we don't get many questions, I will have to tell dad jokes, just so that you're a little bit entertained rather than sitting here waiting. But thanks for coming along to this session, and thanks more so for coming along today generally. Really appreciate it. Two minutes until the scheduled start time. So I'll pop a question in the chat for you. What does a sprinter eat before a race? Any ideas? Any ideas? Welcome, Joy. Good to have you back. What does a sprinter enjoy? What does a sprinter eat before a race? Looks like no takers. The answer is nothing. They fast. Nothing. They fast. Yeah, I know, Joy. It's not this often that I've told this many dad jokes in a day, to be honest. Now, this one is actually fairly straightforward. What is a sprinter? A sprinter is a fast runner as opposed to a long distance runner. Isatu. So a sprinter is somebody who goes and can run really fast, like the 100 meters and 200 meters at the Olympics instead of long distance like the marathon. No worries. Happy to help. What has more letters than the alphabet? Oh, Simone's got it. The post office. Simone snuck in here just to score a dad joke. Well done. That was very good. It's 4 o'clock. We have 8 people here. Yeah, woohoo. I'd love to say that that's all you need to do for this cluster, Simone, and that we pass you. But unfortunately, it takes a little bit more than guessing the dad jokes. We've got 8 folks here, folks. Fire away with the questions. Let's go. It's 4 o'clock. How best do I create an observation checklist on the candidate to address? How best do I create an observation checklist on the candidate to address? Okay, Rodney, here's my answer. I hope this is a good answer that works for you. What I would do is if I need to create an observation checklist, remember we're creating an observation checklist to be used with all our candidates who are assessed in that unit. Okay, so what I would do is I would sit down and have a look at the mapping. The mapping is your friend, and the mapping will tell me what I plan to create, what I plan to assess using the observation checklist. And then I look at those items that are in the checklist and I reword them and reorganize them so they're nice and tidy and make sense to the assessor. And that's how I come up with my checklist. Whether it's an observation checklist or a different type of checklist assessment, which is pretty much all of them except for questioning, that's the approach that I would normally take. My question to you, Ron, is does that answer your question? Is that what you had in mind, or did you have something else that you wanted me to explore there? Rodney says, yes, so that works. Okay, great. It's simple as that, Rodney. Don't overthink it too much. You know, if you follow this process and the series of steps I've led you through today, it works. That's why we teach it, because it works. That's what RTOs do, are the series of steps we've been through today. So, yeah, take that on board. You should be in great shape. In the mapping, do we mark off our boxes for the performance evidence and knowledge evidence? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So you should definitely be mapping the performance evidence and the knowledge evidence, the foundation skills, and the performance criteria. Yeah, that's it. That covers it. So that all the performance criteria, all the foundation skills that you think are relevant, that you've chosen as relevant, okay? And then the knowledge evidence and the performance evidence, yeah, you map them all. Does that answer your question, Simone? I'm going to assume yes until you tell me otherwise, Simone. I'll move on to Tracy's question. Hi, can you cover what is expected in trialing of the assessment tool and reporting on it? Sure. So, good. Simone, that worked for you. That's great. So, Tracy, I'm going to give you more value than you probably asked for with this answer. It's going to be a really long answer, but I will cover it, okay? Because I'm guessing that there's other people here who want to know how all of this works. So this is how it works. For those of you who are doing TAE ASS 502, you design 3 assessment tools, then you move into the trial and review phase, which is what Tracy's asking about. Okay. I'll get to that in a moment. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because for the people who are doing the ASS cluster, you create 5 assessment tools, then you assess people. Okay. And when you assess people, you assess one person against each of those 5 tools. Okay. So remember, one assessment tool has 3 assessment instruments, an assessment plan and mapping. Okay. So for each assessment tool, you'll conduct 3 assessments against the same person. Okay. But you have to use a different person for each assessment tool. Now, all the instructions will tell you this very specifically. So in assessments 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, for those in the assessment cluster, you develop the assessment tools. And then in assessments 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you assess one person against each of those tools. Now, after that's done, everyone sort of comes together again because the assessment cluster folks then move on to trialing and reviewing. And the TAE ASS 502 people are already there ready to trial and review. The way the trial and review works is have a look at the template. There's one template, only one document that you provide for each of those trial and review projects. Okay, so have a look at that template. It pretty much shows you what to do. There's a section at the top, which is just generic stuff like what is the end of competency, some interesting questions. Then it says reviewer 1. Reviewer 1 answers all those questions. Then it's got reviewer 2. Reviewer 2 answers all those questions. And then there's another page at the back for you to answer as well. Okay. So what you do when you're doing these reviews is you take your documentation and you give it to people. You give it to 2 people for each of the 3 assessment tools. Now, it doesn't matter if you're doing AskCluster or TAE ASS 502. We only ask you to do 3 reviews. So for those of you in the AskCluster, yes, you prepared 5 tools, but you only have to review 3 of them. Any 3, doesn't matter. Okay. For the TAE ASS 502, well, you've only got 3 to pick from, so you'll review all those 3. And what you do is you show your assessment tools to 2 people. See your assessment plan, assessment mapping, your 3 instruments. You show them to somebody and you ask them for feedback. You say, come on, give it to me. I'm a big boy, big girl, I can handle it. Okay. They fill in their section of the review document. I hope they're critical and I hope they give you ideas on how you can improve what you've done. Because if they have, it actually makes it easier for you on the last page where you have to say what you're going to improve. Okay. And you rinse and repeat that 3 times. So, Tracy, does that answer your question? Some, which means not all. If you've got another question, Tracy, or you want me to clarify what I've said, please ask. What is the role of the supervisor? Okay, which is the same question that Brett is asking as well. All right. I figured this would come up. So I'm going to say, here's my disclaimer straight away. If I sit here and explain every assessment in great detail, it can bamboozle your brain a little bit. So if you start to get a little confused, a bit bamboozled, please be aware that we provide the instructions you need for each assessment as you go through it. Okay. So at the moment, my focus is on helping you with 10 to 14. Okay. But I'm not going to ignore the question. I'll answer the question, but this is what sort of lies ahead. Okay. Don't expect you all to remember all this, but this is what happens. So it's a little bit different for those in the ASS cluster as opposed to TAE ASS 502. Okay. Now, Tracy, I think from memory, you're doing TAE ASS 502. Is that correct? While Tracy's answering that question, Rodney, yes, it is 2 reviewers, but I'll explain in detail. Okay, so Tracy, you're a TAE ASS 502 person. So you started this question, so I'm going to answer you first. Okay, so this is the answer for everyone doing TAE ASS 502. It's a little bit different for AskCluster, so you can tune out for a moment, have some nice music going in your head. For TAE ASS 502, you don't have to assess anybody. All you need to do are the 3 reviews. Okay. With those 3 reviews, you have 2 reviewers for each of the assessment tools. It can be the same people. Okay. But you also have a supervising observer. Now, the supervising observer needs to be somebody who has some sort of understanding and appreciation of training or management or supervision. Okay. They don't necessarily need to be TAE qualified. They don't need to have necessarily obtained a qualification of any type in training and assessment, but they need to either be a subject matter expert or a supervisor or a manager or a former trainer, or they are a trainer, or they used to be a trainer, or they used to be an assessor. We're fairly general, fairly kind about who can be the supervising observer for your reviews. Okay. So if you're in TAE ASS 502, you've got a pretty big window of possibilities as to who you might choose. Now, they don't have to sit there and watch you do all the reviews or anything like that. Okay. They just need to be aware of what you're doing and be there as a resource to answer questions. And at the end of the day, they need to be happy enough to sign off on that checklist to say, yes, you did the reviews and you did a good job. Okay. That's all you need for TAE ASS 502. Can you use your husband who is a trainer? Simone asks. Ask us, Simone. I think the answer is yes. I think you can for a supervising observer. So put your husband up there. Put in the submission to say, can I use my husband? Give us his details, etc., or tell us about him. That will be assessment number 7 for you. Okay, in TAE ASS 502. Yes, I think you can. Our assessors will let you know if I'm wrong. Is there any other questions about TAE ASS 502? Can you use a teacher? Asatu, yes. A school teacher, I'm guessing you've got in mind, or a teacher at a TAFE or RTO. Yeah, that'd be fine. That'll be great. Okay, Suzanne, I've got your question on notice. I'll come back to that one. Is there any more questions about the trial and review for TAE ASS 502? Because I want to talk about the ASS cluster and how it's different next. Okay. All right, I'll have to come back to you too, Claire. Okay, so let's talk about the ASS cluster. The ASS cluster is a little bit more going on because you're doing more units of competency, more stuff, you have more evidence, more proof you have to provide to us. So with the ASS cluster, in assessment 15, which is the one after these 5 tools, we'll ask you for a supervising assessor. A supervising assessor is a qualified trainer and assessor, qualified trainer. Okay. So somebody who could assess in an RTO environment. So the requirements are a lot stricter than what we talked about with TAE ASS 502. So for your supervising assessor will be somebody who's got either TAE 40110 plus TAE LLN 411 plus TAE ASS 502, or they've got TAE 40116, or they've got a diploma or other qualification in adult education. Okay. Now, all of this is explained in assessment 15 in the instructions, and we ask you to provide a copy of their qualification and their contact details. That's all you do for assessment 15 so that we can approve them. If you get to that stage and you're going, don't know anybody, or I've got a problem, contact us and we send you a letter. We actually call it the letter because we send it out quite a lot. Okay, we send you a letter which explains it all and gives you lots of ideas. And then we basically say at the end of the letter, look, if you can't find somebody, contact us again and we will get one of our learning leaders to help you. Okay, so there's always a solution for everyone. There's no need to panic. Okay, if nothing else, one of our learning leaders will help you. Okay, that person, the supervising assessor, normally helps you with all of your conducting assessments, 16 to 20. They finish the checklist that's relevant to assessment 21. Then they'll help you with the trial and reviews, just like the AS 502 people have to do. Their assessments 22, 23, 24, and then assessment 25, they upload another checklist covering that. Okay, so when you get to assessment 15, if you get a bit stuck finding somebody who satisfies those requirements, just let us know. The person does not need to live with you or in your area. They don't need to actually see you. They don't need to watch every assessment you do or anything like that. They're there to help you and guide you and get to the stage where they can say, yeah, Gina, Harry, Joe has finished this, done a good job, and signs the checklist and sends it to us. Do you provide their training quals? Yes, you do, Simone. We ask you to upload them to us. So you go and say, can I have your Cert 4? Thank you. You get a copy, you upload it to us. Unless they've already studied with Mr. Wynn, in which case you just tell us and we look it up ourselves. Okay. Can you use your husband for that one? Again, I'm not sure. I should know, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think that one might be a problem. Yeah, but I'm not sure, Simone. So what I'd do is dive into assessment 15 when you get there and ask us. Provide us with your husband's qual and say, look, he's my husband. Is that okay? And we'll say yes or no. I can't remember, Simone. I'm sorry. Just can't remember at the moment. So that's all I want to say about supervising assessors and supervising observers. There's lots of instructions when you get to those relevant assessments. Is there any other specific questions about that before I move on to the questions from Suzanne and Claire? Okay. Suzanne asked, I have used a poster presentation under a product-based instrument, or should it go under portfolio? I love this question. Okay. If you asked a lot of Mr. Wet assessors, you might get different answers on this one because there's no set definition out there in the world as to what the difference between a product-based method is and a portfolio is. It's a very grey shady area. Okay. That grey shady area is good because you can use it to your advantage sometimes. You might have two assessments that are kind of similar in a little bit of ways. And you might say, well, that one's a product-based portfolio. And that one's product-based and that one's portfolio. Okay. And we can go, yeah, all right, fair enough. Okay. So don't stress about too much. Use those categories to your advantage. My answer to your question is if it's a poster presentation, okay, sounds to me like a single poster and something that you've prepared as a single poster and maybe you've done a presentation for it, which is great. It sounds like product-based method to me because you've prepared something and you've got that end product. So it sounds to me like product-based method would be my answer. But I would expect that many assessors, including Mr. Wed ones, would also think that it might be a portfolio with just one thing in it. Okay, so I think we'd have the flexibility to put that in both categories. I know that I would. Okay, so that's a little bit like taking the fifth in a court of law in America. That one, I'm giving you a bit of an answer. And I think there's some flexibility for us there in terms of how we would interpret that, and that we would extend that flexibility across to you as well. So I hope that helps you out, Suzanne. My best answer is product-based, but I think portfolio would be fair. Claire's asked, direct observation is assessing every step of making a drink. Product-based is only assessing the final product. Yes. True. True. Having a gold star, because you explained that very well. That is absolutely true. Okay. Now, I think I've answered everyone's questions so far, but if there's another question I've missed or you've got another one, fire away. In the assessment plan, where the VetNet link is put, can you review that, please? Excuse me. Sorry, Jackie, I don't understand what you're asking me to look at or what the question is there. Can I review that, please? Are you saying the answer I gave you earlier was wrong? Because if that's true, that's interesting. But is that what you're saying? I gave you the link was wrong in the example earlier? No? Okay. Just take your time, Jackie. Just reframe what you're asking. So I'm a little confused. I'm sorry. While you're doing that, I'm going to jump to Suzanne's question. Suzanne, I'm doing organized schedule as your unit. Yep. So I ask for samples of bookings, etc. Can this be product-based or portfolios? Okay, look, my answer, again, this falls right in that damn gray area, but my answer is if it's multiple samples, it's probably portfolio. If it's one sample, product-based. But I'm splitting hairs a little bit. You could go either. The Mr. Web assessors are going to go, oh, yeah, cool. Okay, so either would be the answer. Can you, wait on, Jacqueline, can you please explain the last part of the assessment plan? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Cool. Brett's trying to help. He says, show you where the link to VetNet is. Okay, is it the link to VetNet that you're having trouble finding, Jackie, or is it bigger picture issues than that? If you can pop that clarification in the chat, that'd be great. Is it the VetNet? No, just what we put in the box. Okay, so what we put in the box where it says 1.2. I'll bring up the assessment plan and we'll get this sorted for you. Just bringing up that assessment plan. I'm about to share the screen to it. Okay, everyone should now be able to see the assessment plan. So we've got the link to the unit here, but I don't think that's what you're asking about. You're asking about the stuff later in the assessment plan, I believe. Specifically, probably this question here, question C. Jack, right down the bottom. Yes. Okay. So this is what you're asking about, Jackie? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Jackie, is the problem finding the implementation guide? Is that the problem, finding the document, or what to do? No, it's where to get your answer once you're in the document. Is that right? Yes. Okay. All right. So this question is the world's longest question because it actually tries to give you instructions on how to answer this question. Okay. And try to go through it. So that's why it's such a long question, guys. Please don't. It's a little bit like training and assessment at the same time. You can see here with these examples here that these are rather sophisticated answers. And the reason is that this has been copied from the implementation guide. So part number one of the answer to your question, Jackie, is you copy from the implementation guide. You don't have to reword or do anything special. Okay. So with respect to the implementation guide, I'm going to try and get that back up here again. Okay, all right. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. And I'm going to get the implementation guide up. So I'm just going to share the unit again. So this is the unit on TGA, and I might be backtracking more further than you need, Jackie, but please excuse me anyway, because this is helpful for people. So you can either click here, folks, where it says Companion Volume Implementation Guides, or we can go all the way to the bottom. Doesn't matter. It goes to the same place. Okay. Then we download this document. Okay. And that will start downloading. And I save it to my computer. And I open it up. Now, can you tell me, do you see the implementation guide at the moment, folks? Or is it still on that other page? Yes. Okay. Everyone can see the implementation guide, Skills IQ? Yep. Yes. Okay. All right. So what we do within this document, Jackie and everybody, is we just go looking for things that are relevant to contextualization. Don't look for something that's relevant to that unit, SITH FAB 024. Don't look for something that specifically addresses it. That's the mistake sometimes students make. They go looking for something that's specifically addressing just that unit. And you probably won't find anything, to be honest. But you're looking for something that they're generally telling. Because this whole document is about helping us get ready to contextualize our assessments. Okay. So as a result, you go to the contents page, start scrolling down there. Usually in the latter half of the document, you start to see things generally related to the units of competency. Here's a section about general laws that specifically apply to tourism and travel, occupational certification requirements. Maybe if I click on general laws, okay, and I have a bit of a read. Okay, there's some interesting stuff here about how the laws, how we have to make sure we comply with general laws. You could put that into contextualization statement answer. That could be a good answer right there, because that's something you need to think about when you're preparing your assessments. Okay, we need to make sure that we're making sure we satisfy the applicable laws. Okay. There's lots more information here too about more laws and more things we need to think about. Or you could go to access and equity, skip past all this stuff. This looks too specific. Okay, here's stuff about working in kitchens, working in bars and cellars, things we should think about. And so we might start copying some of this stuff. It's all relevant. We just need to pick two things from that implementation guide that are relevant to the unit of competency that we're going to be assessing. Jackie, can you give us a yes if that helps you and provides the extra guidance you need? Yes. Nice. Excellent. Okay. All right, cool. All right, folks, what else would you like to ask? Because we're out of questions at the moment. Is there anything else? I'm all good now. Thanks for helping time and help date. Not a problem. Can we go back to foundation skills? Yes, we can, Alona. What would you like to ask about foundation skills? Is there a specific question? No worries, Tracy. I've only got 3 things for my product-based beverage test. Any other suggestions? Oh, okay, Claire. So here's something important. So you're asking about checklist items, I presume. Yep. Okay. So what you've got there is you've got 3 performance criteria. Okay. I never mentioned this today. I'm surprised I never mentioned, but don't copy performance criteria into your checklist. Like, don't leave it the same and don't put the number there and stuff like that. I'm not suggesting that's what you intended to do, Claire, but don't do that, folks. Okay. So don't just copy a performance criteria and say, here's one I prepared earlier. No, you need to reword them. And what's interesting about rewording them is what you could do, Claire, is in 3.2 here, it talks about, has it been prepared correctly and to the right strength, taste, temperature, appearance. There's 4 possible checklist items hiding there. Was did the candidate prepare the beverage with a correct and consistent strength? Did the candidate prepare the beverage so it had appropriate taste? Did the candidate prepare the beverage so that it was the appropriate temperature? Did the candidate prepare the beverage so it had an appropriate appearance? There's 4 checklist items hiding there just within 3.2. Now, I'm not suggesting you all get that crazy specific, okay? But that's an answer to your question right there, Claire. How do you get 6 checklist items? Well, you just got 4 out of 3.2. So you can use that approach to your advantage. Does that help you, Claire? Yes. Nice. Alona, basic wording. Can we have the ability to? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Alona. Get flexible and get creative with it and modify the wording so it works for you. Okay. All right. Folks, I'm going to ask you to do something. One thing. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to put one takeaway that you've learnt today, something you found interesting, or maybe something that surprised you, or one thing you want to remember when you're designing all these assessment tools. What's one thing that you're going to take away with you and remember from what we've done today? Pop it in the chat, please. Clarified contextualization. Great, Suzanne. That's awesome. Put about 6 things on a checklist. Yep. You're all over that, Claire. Good stuff. Wiser. Now, it's been a bit of miss of me that I haven't given appropriate credit today, because a lot of these documents we've been looking at today and Wiser were all created by Diane. Diane is one of our legend LSTers, Learner Success Team members. Okay. And so pretty much everything I've been showing you today, including Wiser, was created by Diane. So next time you see her, give that woman a high five if you found that helpful. Okay. You need 5 documents for an assessment tool. That's right, Asatu. Good. Clarified the trialing and reporting. Glad to help you with that. Tracy, the why, what, where, when, how are really helpful when doing those instructions for candidates, instructions for assessors. Good stuff, Rodney. Okay, excellent. That there was an old and a new training from the training.gov.au site. Yeah, they're in the middle of a transition between the two at the moment. And it's interesting, they've been transitioning now for months. I mean, I think it's at least 6 months, at least. So maybe people don't like the new one as much as they thought they would. It was confusing me. Well, fair enough, Jackie. Yeah, sorry. I hope I help with that confusion rather than contribute to it. Carr asks, should we limit to one criteria checkpoint in each performance criteria statement, or can we combine more than one? Whatever you like, Carr. No rule. If we combine more than one, students may not complete it all, and it may not be easy for an assessor to check if the combination is complex. It's a good point, Carr. It's a good point. Look, trust your common sense, sir. Trust your common sense. Okay. There's no rules about that as to how many checklist items you have or how you break it down. You don't want to have too many checklist items so it's overwhelming for an assessor. Okay. But you don't want too few that the detail isn't there so they can effectively assess what they need to do. So trust your instincts and trust your judgment is my best advice. And, get feedback from other assessors as well. That's what we do in the real world. So we create our assessment instruments. We go show them to people and say, what do you think about this? And they'll say, yes, no, maybe. Okay. So that's my best advice moving forward in the real world. I hope that helps you out. Oh, no worries, Elizabeth. Happy to help you out. I hope you got that thing sorted too with being able to edit the documents. If that's not sorted yet, please ring me straight after this and we will get that sorted. 3 instruments, 6 criteria. No worries, Joy. You love numbers. So do I. So do I. I like numbers and guidelines. That's good that's helped you. All right. Good stuff. You guys have been amazing all day. I'm going to show you one last thing before I run away. And that's a link to the survey that I'd love you to fill out. I'd love you to fill out this survey. You could click on that link, fill it out. This is relatively new for us doing these support sessions like this over Zoom. If you found it helpful, please tell us. If you think it's rubbish, please tell us. If you think it needs tweaking and improvement, tell us. So please don't hesitate to click that link and let us know what you think so we can make these even better. Would be much appreciated. Otherwise, is there any final questions? Last chance. Okay, so to each one of you, Barbara, Brett, Kathy, Claire, Elizabeth, Alona, Asatu, Jacqueline, Joy, Carr, Ken, Rodney, Suzanne, and Tracy, thanks for coming along for this last session. Thanks for coming along all day. I think you guys are champions. Don't waste what's happened today, okay? It's in your head. It's fresh in your mind. Act on it, okay? Finish off that assessment tool. Get it submitted to Mr. Wed. You submit it the same place where you get all the information. Okay, go to assessment 10, hit that start assessment button and upload it to all to us. Okay. And as you get the feedback, then move through the next ones. Okay. So when you finish 10, do 11. When you finish 11, do 12. And just keep moving. Just keep moving. If you stop moving, you're stuffed. Okay. If you don't stop moving, you win. You will finish this course if you just keep moving and keep some momentum on your side. I promise you. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thanks very much for some of the kind comments in the chat, guys. You're amazing. I'm glad to hear that you've learned some stuff today. That's why we did this. And we've got another one coming up next Thursday for those who are doing the DES cluster or DEL cluster about session plans and learning programs. So if you haven't registered for that, if you haven't, go to your dashboard. If you go to Mr. Wed Online, there's a big promo thing staring at you when you log in. And I'd love to see you back again next week if you need help with DES or DEL with session planning and learning programs and stuff like that. No worries. I hope you enjoy your weekend too, Rodney. Look, thanks, guys. I won't read your comments, but I'm looking at them and I'm very grateful to you all. You've been amazing today. So thank you and good luck with your studies. We're here rooting for you and we want to help you. When you need help, ring, ask for help, and our team is here to help you. All right. Let's finish up. We finished with the cowboy, cowgirl. Again, Jackie, that's good stuff. Thank you very much for everyone. Grab gold stars. If you haven't clicked that link for the survey yet, please click it now and fill that survey and it'll be much appreciated. And the videos will be up by Wednesday for all the sessions today. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have an amazing weekend. And thanks for being one of our students. We love you for it. All right. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.